Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I'm going to demonstrate a trade here. I don't want to get too greedy with this, but I'm looking for another leg down like this right here. All right, we're short now. And let me explain this setup to you. Let me make it a little bigger. Yeah, see, I could have got a couple of ticks better than I did there. But we've got this channel. Yeah, now I got it too big. It's too. We've got this channel working down here, I do believe, and you see we've come off the high side, the low side, two legs back up. Notice we had that little channel there. We broke it. We turned down. So now we're going to scalp out. I went in with 10 contracts. We'll scalp out 9 on 4 ticks, and then what we'll try to do is we'll try to get out of this one down here near the low end of the channel. We never really got a retest. We had a little channel down here and we broke it with the 2 legs, and we've never really had a retest. That could be close enough. We'll just have to see, but I really like this back down to the other side here. So we'll see what happens. Here we go. We need a couple more ticks here. People are always saying, hey, show us a live trade. Anybody can show you after the fact. And so I like to show these examples of how it works. And there you are. You see, now we're out. Our stop's at break even on the runner. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this runner a little room here because I think we're coming down to this other side. I'm willing to risk one of the contracts I just made. We just made 9 contracts, $50. So it's $450 that we're guaranteed to make off this trade. Actually, I'm going to risk another 50 here. So we'll guarantee to make $400. But if we go lower here, we could make a little bit more. And you see, as we're kind of moving out, I may move this down a little bit because where I want to exit is right where it will touch the other side of the range. And we could get a failed second entry short that, well, it's really not a failed one, but we could reverse out of here. And I may get stopped out. But you see, if I'd have had it with break even plus 1, I'd already be stopped out. And if it goes one more tick, I'd get stopped out at break even. But this was really the trigger point on this trade, and I snuck in a tick early. So you could have snuck in, I think I could have got in as much as 2 ticks earlier. So, but you can't get greedy because you don't always know how far back it's going to go. So that was another purpose of that entry right there. Now you see they would have got my break-even stop, and they may get my stop up here, but I'm willing to risk a little more of it to see if we don't come on back down here. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get stopped out here. Really, the ideal spot is up here. Maybe not. See how this bar closes. Not many ticks left, and they're trying to beat it back down. But this is why you got to wait for the trigger point, and you can't try to sneak in early because this looks real bullish, and now it's, you can't tell which way this bar is going to end up going. It may just end up as a big doji. It looks like they're going to try to end it on the high side. And we're still alive. Here we go. But I'm looking for this thing to make a retest down here and possibly touch the other end of this what I think is the range here. This might even be a little higher right here. We'll see what happens. We'll call it that right there. But you see there, I would have gotten stopped out if I'd left that at break even or break even plus one. So I gave it a little more room only because I like the setup. Doesn't mean I'll be right, but we've already made our $400. I could go ahead and exit this now with a little over 450 if I wanted to close it now. But I really think if we break lower here, we're going to shoot on down and make a new low and probably kiss off of this lower trend line here. Or what I call the trend channel line. The opposite side, this is the trend line, so the other side would be the trend channel. And that's where I usually try to exit, the other side. Come on, sellers. There we go. We're driving it down. There we go. Now get on through there. It's heading straight down. If it comes straight down from there, then I may be a little too low on my target there. Measured leg. Let's just see where a measured leg takes it to. Measured leg takes it to right there. We about got that. I'm going to bring that up a tick. And we might have missed it right there. You see we got a perfect measured leg. And now it's bouncing. Well, I'm tempted to close this one because we got that measured leg, and tell you what we'll do. We'll move our stop down to one tick above that bar. So if it breaks higher, we won't give all our money back. And if it goes lower, we can still meet our target. Here we go. There we go. And so we made 86.75 to right where we thought it was going to go. So I didn't get quite out at the low, but I didn't want to risk it with it was bouncing so there. But a nice easy $500 plus there, a little over $500 we just made on that quick trade. Excuse me. And again, you can see, and we probably should have even considered. So you got the break there. You might have a new low. My guess is we'll bounce from here, but we'll see. It's there's only 30 minutes left in the trading day. But let's talk about the other trades for today, and then I'm gonna wrap this day up. Really good trading day. That trade right there made me a quick $500, a little over $500 there. So, but we started out in a range this morning, and it was kind of a leftover range from the previous day. You can kind of see those highs across there. We went lower, made a double bottom. This has kind of been the pattern every day lately, it seems like. Make this a little bigger. And we broke higher. It was really better to wait for this bar to go long. There's still plenty of room because this is not the prettiest bar here, so the long was really right here. And there was some news this morning. We had non-farm payroll this morning. Sorry, I had an interruption there. I forgot what we were talking about. We broke low here. Oh, I think I was talking about the news. We had some news that came out at 7:30 my time, but it didn't really affect much. The market tried to bounce, and then we kept going lower. And this was really the first setup that I saw that I liked. I didn't like this setup too much right here. There was really a trap, but with the news coming out right there. And somebody asked me about that the other day. I failed to mention the news on it was like an early morning trade. We only had that one trade, and I failed to mention it. So I'm going to try to remember to mention where there's news. And really, the price action still is valid during news. The price action is always valid. But what happens a lot of times during news is that the prices move so fast you can't read the price action properly. But, if prices suddenly drop down here real fast and bounce just as fast right off a trend line that you're looking for, maybe say like right here, then it's still valid. So you just got to be careful because especially stuff like FOMC and sometimes, unemployment and the non-farm payroll and that kind of stuff, it can be volatile, but really the one that you got to be really aware of is FOMC news. Because it can really drive the market crazy. Lately, nothing much has happened. So, there's been no changes. Sorry, I had another interruption there. But yes, you got to be aware of the news. Definitely FOMC, and you see we're bouncing right off that channel. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we don't go back to the other side. It's late in the day, so anything could happen. But anyway, let's just talk about the trades. We're already 12 minutes in just with the trade demonstration, but that was a nice setup. I wanted to demonstrate it and show you how I do it. What I do, that this stuff actually works, and you can do it in real time. It's just as easy as you can do it after the fact. For those that that don't think you can do it, that video is really for you guys. A lot of you, there's a lot of you that have learned to do this just like me every day, and it works. So it doesn't take any great explanation for you because you do it every day and you know what it does and it works. But that's for the naysayers and the people that don't know how to do it or can't do it, think nobody else can do it. So, I'll keep trying to do some examples from time to time. But I don't want to sit here and trying to record every trade every day because, I don't want to interrupt my trading. That's how I make my living is trading. I don't make a living teaching, so and I don't want to get off on that tangent, but I just I thought I'd throw it out there. So this is not really about my trading. It's just to show you how to do this. So hopefully that makes sense. But let's go back and talk about the trades. You had this little double bottom down here, are these lows, and you can see they were coming across from the previous day. We couldn't close below there. Every time we shot below that level there at, what is that level? At 81.50, we've bounced, and we bounced again. I waited on the this bar, and it happened real fast, so it kind of gapped. It had that gap. It closed and then opened, but it's going to almost tick back. So I hit a limit order right there on the top. So I snuck in one tick early. Didn't matter. That thing took off straight to the upside, found resistance, pulled back, and then you got a second entry long right here. And let me explain this. This is a second entry two ways. It's a two-legged pullback to the EMA, counting off the high side. You can see that we made a high, we pulled back, we went up again, made a double top, pulled back. So that's two legs back to the EMA. It's two legs back to test that resistance area all across there that held as support. And with a leg that strong, you figure you're going to get another one similar to it, and off it goes, your entry. Again, that one didn't quite close on its high, so again, you can drop a limit order in there, or you can go long just above it. But if you want, you never know if you'll get left behind. This one you could have dropped a limit order all the way back to the previous resistance that's now support. I dropped my limit order one tick in there. Boom, you were out real quick. And no runners on this trade unless you snuck in early like I did down here. My runner survived here, but guess what? My runner survived down here, and of course I exited up here. I wasn't sure if this was the trend channel, but I drew that line across there and it fit perfect. So we went into those overlap, I exited, but then I just re-entered right here. Again, once we touched the upper side, just like I demonstrated over here, I wasn't quite, I should have been a little more patient over here. I wasn't quite patient enough, and I probably gave up another 4 or 5 ticks there, three to 5 ticks, somewhere in that range. I don't remember what it was. But nice second entry long. But let me show you something here. Because we made a new low here on a trap, this is like a first entry. That's one leg. Then you get a two-legged correction, and so this is the same thing. It's a second entry long counting off our normal rules off the high, but you can count this off the low because after one leg up like that, you figure you're going to get another leg, so a second entry. Sometimes people get confused that you can have a count going off both ways. When we're looking for second entries, we're really just looking for two legs. And just to show you, I mean, like this leg coming down here, there's leg one coming down, and then there's leg two. So on a bigger picture, that's a second entry because you got one leg down, pull back, second leg down. You know, on this size chart, it's still a second entry because you made a new high here, and so the count's just like zero here. When it's coming down and you come down and you pull back, so you got one leg and then second entry or second leg. That's all second entry really means. You're looking for a leg. Now when you're doing it counter trend trading like right here, you're looking for two legs of correction and then continuation of the trend. Same thing right here. This is a repeat pattern of that right there. I talk about that all the time. Look how that's an exact pattern. You made the high, you pull back one tick higher. First entry, pull back, second entry, right off the EMA, right off the trend line, and off it goes again. No runners on these particular two unless you snuck in early on them. Same thing here, no runner off of this one unless you snuck in early here. This is really kind of a breakout pullback long, but it's a bounce right off of that possible trend line. And you may not have had that trend line there, but it's still a bounce off the EMA. The way I got it was I drew the lines across the top and drug it down. And usually you would think it would be down here, but lately, you know, it's been right off the EMA, so I just pulled it up. I originally had it right there, and that could still be it. That still fits. But I really believe it was right off of that close, right up through there, and kind of like that. That's what I think the trend line was. And it doesn't matter where you drew it, really. You got the same thing. Whether you drew it there or down here off the closes, you still get the same thing. So, or if you drew it way up there off of this close, you still get the same thing. So you would have came out with the same results no matter how you do it. But I think it was right across there, like so. Maybe off that bar right there. And you can see we caught it there and there. But I was pretty sure that was the line because of the top, and you can see it came back into play up here, and it was holding as resistance all the way up there. But another chance to get in here. Again, it was a fairly easy scalp, but probably no runners on these. We didn't get the runners today that we've been getting. And then I didn't like anything else after that because you're coming off this high, and you don't know when it's going to turn down. There is a failed second entry short right here that you could have taken to the long side, and you can see it took a little work, but those traps very rarely fail. And then, of course, with all those matching highs, you know, you really might have even thought about shorting that with that great reversal bar, but it just wasn't worth taking it. I didn't take it, and a lot of times I'll take those trades, but it's just too risky because this thing could go up forever the way this market's been. And you can see that that was obviously well overdone. Then we had the correction. And no matter where you drew this, you still got if you came off of those two bars right there, then you can kind of see we had a pullback there. And then we had a second entry long here. I can't remember if that failed. or not. I didn't take that trade, and I don't think it's a good setup because of the 3 overlapping bars. 89 and a quarter, and it got to, now see that's a failed second entry long, and you might have considered going short there, but we're looking for long, so it's really dangerous going short anywhere in there, even though it would have worked. And then finally, let me get this out of the way here, and then finally you get this little kind of support area. I really had mine drawn right there, and it was tempting to go long right there, but you had to get long so far up there that I wanted to wait until it came back to right here, and the limit order didn't get filled by the time that bar finished, so I waited, and then we finally got another little trap right here. We actually had this is a really interesting one. You don't want to be going short down here, that. But there's no long setups in here because of all these dojis, and notice we kind of had a second entry long right there. You might call that a second entry long if you consider all that one move, first entry, pull back, second is really like a third entry or so. But when it broke lower and then reversed, I liked going long right there above that bar because now you kind of got you really would have had this move down by now to right there, and you can see, and that's really, and here's the other key that I missed, that I meant to tell you, is that was the former breakout area that we never came back and tested it, and look at there, we broke one tick lower, turned up, so that was a perfect retest of the breakout area that didn't get tested earlier, and then look at it shoot off up to the upside. Another easy scalp right there. Any runners would have been safe, and you could have ridden this all the way back up to the top. I really thought we'd make a new high, but we didn't. We made a reversal pattern right here, and there's no good long. There is a second entry long there, but look at all that overlap. Not really a good place to be going long on a retest after we've really already made a double top. So when you got a second entry short right there, that was a great place to look at that reversal bar. Very similar to that one, and you don't know that it's going to take off like this, but it did. Any runners were safe, so I mean, there were some good runners today. Any runners were safe here or here, and then there was a long here that I didn't take. I was at lunch during this, but I should have marked that because it is another long. You can see the reversal bar, and you don't know that it's going to go. I know why I didn't mark that. I didn't mark that because this channel, we hadn't broke it yet. And maybe I don't have that drawn right. Maybe it might even look more like that. And then we kind of, then it kind of looks like an overshoot and with a reversal bar. And now that I've redrawn that, I do kind of like that better. But this is the bigger picture right here that's the more important line. And, I was just thinking scalp out of this, but you could have got a lot more out of that. You could have ridden this all the way back to the upper side. And then I demonstrated this short coming back down, second entry. There wasn't really a good setup up here. That's too big of a doji. You might have still taken it because of the little channel break and two legs up and coming off that, but I thought it was better to wait and see if we'd get a second entry, and we did. Ride that all the way down, and now guess where we're headed? Back up to the other side, it looks like. And so this stuff works every day the same way. Sometimes it's easier to see than others, and you got to draw these lines. Normally I will take a lot of these off as I'm trading during the day, but I try to put them back on when we do the lesson so you can see what I was looking at. But it gets kind of cluttery, and you don't want old lines getting in the way, so I kind of clear this up as we go. But I put it back on there because, I want you to be able to see what I was looking at or what I saw, as the trading day is going along. And really good trading day. I got a chance to give you a nice trade example there, exactly how I traded every day. Even kind of how I manage the runners. I don't always give the runners more room like that, but I really like that to the downside. And you could tell they were coming back to try to get the break-even stops from really what they did, they probably knew a lot of people snuck in right here because of that gap. And that just shows you how efficient the market is. They came all the way back to the original high and took everybody's break-even stops. That's basically what they did. Anybody that got in from here to here, here down, they came back and got all their stops. And that's what the market does. It's very efficient. It trades very efficiently. And now we got a failed second entry short here that may turn into a great long to the other side. But it's late in the day. It's 15 minutes left in the day. As tempting as that is to want to take it, I'm not going to do so because you may get a double trap and then it come on back down again. I mean, it's late in the day, and you can see it's playing off that support across there. So that's another thing to think about. I'm just kind of watching it because I'm curious to see what it's going to do there. You've got a second entry short here. So they may, but they may be able to bring it down and get that sixth tick that lets people get out. But I'd be shocked if it doesn't go on up and hit the other side too. So it's looking more like a trap to me. But with 15 minutes left, anything could happen because right at 3 o'clock, everybody starts exiting that's still been hanging on, that's maybe been short off since way up here. And if they all start buying before they exit, then it could run up. Or if everybody's gotten long, if more people have gotten long, they may start exiting and run it back down, even though it might end up here before it's over. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. I only had one short that I really liked today. This one I didn't like because of all the dojis, and you see it didn't go far before it snapped back. And it was mostly a buy day until here. That's when you got your reversal pattern. And then we've been working down on a wider channel, pretty much the rest of the day, and that's been it. So, but I hope you enjoyed this lesson, a chance to see another trade example, how I do it every day. Just to show you that it works in real time the same way as it does after the fact, showing the trades after the fact. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.